Frightening new figures show that dog attacks have risen by 50% over the last 10 years. And today the RSPCA will call for new laws, not to deal with dogs, but with their owners, which so many of you are agreeing with this morning. It comes after 2 more children were attacked by dogs in the last week. Here's Julian Drucker.
5-year-old Jamie Thompson, 4 days ago outside his home in Grimsby, the victim of an attack by a Staffordshire Bull Terrier.
He just pushed it by its throat to get it off him and turned his head. He turned his head, he's got the mark on the side of his head.
Just days before that, 9-year-old Zoe Stenton was attacked by a Japanese Akita Alsatian cross in a neighbour's garden in West Yorkshire. She's still recovering. For the family of Ellie Lawrenson, the consequences of a dog attack were even worse. The 5-year-old mauled to death by the family pit bull in her grandmother's house. The dog's owner, Ellie's uncle, was jailed for 8 weeks. And as new research suggests attacks by dogs are on the increase, the RSPCA is calling for changes in the law. More action taken if a dog is aggressive before it attacks, and new powers to make it an offence if it happens in a private place and not just in public. After an alarming rise in cases, they hope they'll go some way to tackling the dogs, but more crucially, their owners.
Oh, let's talk to Ryan O'Meara now. He's editor of K9 magazine, and just look who he's with this morning. Daft old brush, Mia, his Rottweiler, who of course is one of the breeds that everyone goes, ooh, Rottweilers, they're fierce, they're vicious. She's like, as I say, daft as a brush, isn't she?
They are generally as a rule, and I think she's kind of testament to the fact that it's really all in the upbringing, in that every single dog is the product of its environment. So I totally agree with the sentiment of the RSPCA in focusing all legislation on owners, but obviously what we do need to be careful is that we don't put bad laws after bad laws. I think we have to accept that our current dog laws have failed. They have.
So what needs to be done then, do you reckon?
Well, in my opinion, I think we need a level of compulsory education in that we've got no regulation. We like to think, and we constantly hear the phrase, we're a nation of animal lovers. Well, as the editor of a dog magazine, I dispute it. I think in terms of where we are in Europe, we're quite a way behind in terms of our animal welfare. We've got thousands of dogs in rescue shelters, and we've got dog laws that are frankly quite draconian and clearly failed. So in my opinion, we have to get to the preventative side. You have to make sure that anybody that's getting a dog is qualified to get a dog, rather than the current law that we've got, which is anybody can get any dog.
It's like saying you have to be qualified to have children almost, isn't it? Except obviously you don't buy children, but you do go out and buy a dog. But how would you do that? I mean,
well, effectively, the two objections that I hear is, one, only the responsible owners will do it and all the dodgy dog owners won't bother. Well, my view is that you don't not introduce a law based on those who are going to disobey it. And the other one is...
but they're the ones that are causing the problems. These are the people who buy staffs for status symbols, Rottweilers for status symbols, because they're seen as well-ard, you know.
That's right. I think what we have to do is, it's similar to the driving licence, whereby if you are caught without a licence and your car isn't registered, I think every single dog in the country should be registered to an owner. And if you don't have a licence for your dog, hit them in the pocket over and over and over again. Ultimately, they'll take the right decision, which is to get the dog trained, because it only takes a relatively simple amount of advice from an expert, and some of the worst behavioural problems can be overcome. But of course, if you get people being attracted to the wrong breeds, you have to crack down on the people who are supplying them as well.
Yeah, Tammy Smith has emailed us, loads of you have emailed us actually, saying that you agree with what the RSPCA and indeed with what Ryan is proposing, that it's the owners that need tackling, not the dogs. She says she's got a Staffordshire Bull Terrier, a so-called dangerous dog, and a 6-month-old daughter, and she says the dog's more like a nanny than a dangerous dog, and it's the way she's been brought up.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing is, we have to always be aware. People often ask me, is there such a thing as a safe dog? There isn't. Don't assume it. Mia, as everyone can see, is really friendly, but if you were to ask me, would I leave her unattended with a child, I just would never do it. I just don't necessarily...
children approach them from the rear sometimes, they do. And they snap. And,
they do. It's one of those things that I think, again, a little bit of education would go a long way.
Yeah. All right, Ryan. And I know already that so many dog owners agree with you. And how long have you had her?
She's 2. I've had her since she was 8 weeks.
She's
and
gorgeous.
So far, she's not at anybody.
And you are becoming to look like each other.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're very cuddly too.